Discover 10 incredible, heartwarming secrets of the polar regions that transform sleep forever. Lucy Thompson sat on the floor of her cramped attic, shivering as the cold Ohio breeze whispered through the rafters. She rummaged through boxes, searching for winter clothes for her 2 children, Emma and Jake. Suddenly, her fingers brushed against something smooth and wooden. Intrigued, she opened the box and found an old journal, worn and faded. The moment she began to read, she was swept away into her grandfather's thrilling adventures in the polar regions, tales of majestic icebergs, endless skies, and deep-seated secrets of nature. Could these secrets really help revive not only her exhaustion but also the connection she craved with her kids? The stories spilled out like warm light into her heart, painting vivid images of ice and snow that sparked an ember of inspiration within her. There were tips that made her cozy with enthusiasm about bonding with family and nature and how the serene landscapes improved sleep and replenished the soul. Each tale rekindled memories of laughter and joy in her home. But her excitement was overshadowed by an impending cloud of fatigue from juggling 2 demanding jobs. After a long day, Lucy found Emma and Jake's laughter echoing through the living room, their bright eyes alive with energy. Her heart ached to laugh with them, yet the weight of bills and fatigue pulled her down, creating an invisible wall between them. The desire to engage was buried under worry. As she traced her grandfather's tales in the flickering candlelight, an idea ignited. Could sharing these stories with her kids bridge their emotional gap? Would it lift the veiled fatigue eclipsing their home? But just as the flicker of hope burned brighter, disaster struck. News spread like wildfire through the neighborhood that Mr. Thompson, the beloved bakery owner, was in trouble. Rising costs threatened the very heart of their community. His bake shop was at risk of being shuttered forever. Lucy felt another weight settle on her shoulders. The spirit of her grandfather's stories echoed in her mind. Community bonds can heal, she remembered. With her kids by her side, she hatched a plan to host a town-wide bake sale to save Mr. Thompson's dream. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the day of the bake sale approached, Lucy felt a surge of energy. The community rallied together, bringing their best recipes to share. But amid the excitement, she struggled to balance her job, her motherhood, and the ever-growing expectations. Just as despair crept in, Jake and Emma surprised her with a handmade poster, vibrant and alive with joyful colors and bold letters declaring, "Family First." Tears stung Lucy's eyes as her children grinned, their innocence connecting her to the essence of her grandfather's tales. On the day of the bake sale, the air was thick with warmth and laughter. Tables overflowed with cupcakes, cookies, and pies, each treat infused with love. But the thought lingered at the back of her mind: could they really raise enough to save Mr. Thompson's bakery? As the sunset painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Lucy stood, heart racing. The answer felt just out of reach, weaving her family's fate with the mysteries she was unearthing in her grandfather's journal. Will they rise to the challenge together? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the bake sale in a golden glow, Lucy felt the pulse of her community around her. Friends, neighbors, and familiar faces filled the community park, their laughter swirling around her like a comforting embrace. Each plate of cookies and cake told a story, just as her grandfather's journal had. She glanced at Emma and Jake, wearing matching aprons that hung a little too big on their tiny frames. They giggled as they decorated cupcakes with colorful sprinkles, completely absorbed in their task. Their joy was infectious, warming Lucy from the inside out. This was a moment she had nearly forgotten amidst the whirlwind of life and responsibilities. "Lucy, do you need more napkins?" called out Mrs. Henderson, the elderly woman from down the street, her hands full of freshly baked bread. There was a kindness in her voice that confirmed what Lucy had been realizing. They were all in this together. The weight of her worries felt just a little lighter. "Yes, please. And thank you." "You're a lifesaver," she replied, grateful for the helping hands that surrounded her. As the sales began, one stall after another filled with eager customers, Lucy noticed Mr. Thompson standing modestly at the edge of the crowd. His expression was a swirl of nervous anticipation and hope. Seeing him struck a chord deep within Lucy. This was the man who had brought so much joy to her community, and now it was their turn to uplift him. "Come on," Lucy whispered to Emma and Jake, her heart racing with purpose. "Let us invite him over." Before she knew it, they were trotting toward Mr. Thompson, who wore a simple apron dusted with flour. "Mr. Thompson," Jake called out, his voice bright with excitement. When they reached him, Lucy spoke, her heart pounding. "We're raising money to help save your bakery. It means a lot to us, and we want you to be a part of it." The older man's eyes glistened, and it looked, for a moment, as if words failed him. He smiled, wide and full, taking a knee to meet Jake's gaze. "I can't tell you how much that means to me. You're what keeps this community alive," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Their conversation ebbed and flowed, and Lucy felt hope blooming fiercely. Maybe they could do this, maybe they could weave together a tapestry of support strong enough to keep Mr. Thompson's dream alive. As hours passed and the bake sale buzzed with life, Lucy noticed the back of her mind easing. She was locked in a rhythm with Emma and Jake, gathering donations, engaging with neighbors, and sharing smiles. Fatigue didn't drown her, it transformed into excitement. Later, as the sun finally surrendered to twilight, the numbers on the donation jar began to rise. Lucy's heart quickened with every coin and bell added by generous hands. But just as they celebrated small victories, a troubling thought crept in. Would the funds they raised be enough? Has hope woven itself tightly enough to conquer the looming reality of failure? As they cleaned up, the air steamy with the sweetness of sugar and warmth, Lucy felt a sudden chill. She held onto her children's hands, grounding herself in their presence. "Hey, what if we tell the story of this bake sale during our next dinner?" she suggested, her voice tentative yet hopeful. "Just like Grandpa used to. It might inspire us." But before she could finish her thought, a loud crash interrupted their moment, pulling her attention away. Lucy's heart dropped as she turned to see Mr. Thompson's dessert table tipping over, all of the homemade treats crashing to the ground. In that moment, something big was about to happen. Would they rally together like they had before? Would the community rise to the occasion when hope seemed lost? Lucy exchanged a worried glance with her kids, her instincts kicking in. They couldn't let this setback take the wind from their sails. Would they stand together once more, amidst laughter and chaos, to restore not just the bake sale but also the spirit that bound them as a community? A gasp rippled through the crowd as everyone turned to see the scene unfold. Plates shattered, frosting splattered, and cookies crumbled into an avalanche of sweet chaos. Lucy's stomach dropped like a rock. Emma and Jake's eyes widened, mirroring her shock. It felt like the air had thickened, and time slowed to a crawl. "Mr. Thompson!" Lucy called out, rushing forward, her heart racing. She could see him standing there, frozen, his face a mixture of disbelief and sorrow. The magic of the bake sale, a celebration meant to uplift him, was slipping away with each fallen cupcake. Without thinking, she knelt beside him as the last of the cookies fell to the grass. "It's okay," she whispered, trying to soften the blow. "We can fix this." But as she looked into Mr. Thompson's eyes, she could see that he was heartbroken, not just for the treats but for the community he had dedicated himself to. "I didn't want it to end like this," he said, his voice trembling. Lucy's heart ached. "It doesn't have to be over. We can make it better." She glanced back at her kids, who were already gathering sprinkles and frosting from the overturned tables. Inspired, she stood up, determination flushing through her. "Everyone!" she shouted, her voice breaking through the hushed tones of disbelief. "We need your help." With that, the crowd began to stir. Neighbors who were just standing around looked at one another, confusion shifting into encouragement. Some started picking up pieces, while others began cheering. "Come on! If we all pitch in, we can create something even more incredible." Emma chimed in, her little voice rising above the murmurs. Jake offered a hand to Mr. Thompson, pulling him toward their table piled with untouched treats. Slowly, the tension broke. People began to gather around, eager to help. Mrs. Henderson dashed over with her bread, offering to make sandwiches. Mr. Gonzalez from the corner store brought over a cooler filled with lemonade, ready to refresh the tired helpers. Within minutes, the shock turned to exhilaration as laughter and chatter filled the park once again. Lucy felt the energy surge around her, building momentum as each person brought their skills to the forefront. Stand by me. Lucy called to Emma and Jake, who beamed with pride as they began frosting new cupcakes, combining flavors and adding sprinkles with a newfound fervor. Mr. Thompson, pushed back into action by the community's spirit, started pulling together slices of cake and tarts. Lucy watched as people from all corners of their community joined together. It was evident that much more than baked goods were being made. They were cultivating the very heart of the town right there in the park. The realization struck her, this was not just about saving Mr. Thompson's bakery, it was about preserving what made their community special. As the aroma of fresh baked treats filled the air again, a sense of belonging washed over her. The community wasn't just supporting a local business, they were standing alongside one another, rekindling the deep connections that defined their lives. But as she wiped the frosting from her forehead, Lucy couldn't shake the feeling that amidst this simmering hope, there was something lurking just beyond the horizon. A storm cloud, perhaps? What if the threats to Mr. Thompson's bakery were more serious than they realized? With a mix of delight and unease, Lucy turned to the makeshift counter they had created. The donation jar was filling rapidly, and each coin glinted like a beacon of hope. But would it be enough to not only save the bakery but to ensure that moments like this of unity and celebration continued to flourish? A crowd gathered around, and the mood shifted as a hush fell over everyone. Lucy prepared for a surprising announcement, one that could either make or break their efforts. Maybe, she thought, glancing at her little helpers beside her, this day is just beginning. As the crowd continued to buzz with renewed energy, Lucy felt a surge of hope. She gathered her breath and looked at Mr. Thompson, whose initial despair was slowly transforming into a glimmer of optimism. The twinkle in his eyes was infectious, and she couldn't help but smile back at him. "Can I have everyone's attention?" she shouted, her voice cutting through the chatter. The crowd turned as one, faces eager and curious, all eyes fixed on her. "We've created something truly special here today, but it's just the beginning. Mr. Thompson has been part of our lives for so long. Together, we can not only save his bakery but also build a brighter future for all of us." The crowd erupted in applause, cheers echoing through the park like music. Lucy felt the warmth of their support wash over her, and she continued, "I know we've got each other's backs, but I need more than just bake sale cookies to help Mr. Thompson." She paused, heart racing at the enormity of what she was about to propose. "We need to form a task force, a group dedicated to rallying more community resources. Let us brainstorm ideas, fundraisers, events, whatever it takes." Jake and Emma exchanged excited looks, their faces beaming with pride. It wasn't just about the treats anymore, it was about everything they loved about their town and the people in it. "Count me in," shouted Mrs. Henderson, her cheerful voice almost silencing the crowd. "I've got plenty of ideas. We could host a monthly potluck, just like we did at the old community center. And I can bring my famous salsa." Mr. Gonzalez chimed in, to laughter and applause. The energy shifted, sparking creativity. Ideas flowed like frosting. Now some talked about bake-offs, others suggested talent shows, and even family game nights. Lucy's heart swelled as she watched people's hopes intertwine. As everyone rallied together, they began to organize small groups. Each team set off to brainstorm specific ideas. Lucy helped Mr. Thompson gather volunteers for the bakery squad, while Emma and Jake started sketching a colorful poster to draw in more participation. But even amid the laughter and camaraderie, an undercurrent of worry lingered in Lucy's mind. What if they didn't raise enough money? What if someone from town stopped believing in their efforts? "Lucy?" Mr. Thompson's gentle voice brought her back to the moment. "Thank you. This means more than you know. He looked at her with a mix of gratitude and concern. "It's a team effort, Mr. Thompson. We'll figure this out together," she reassured him. Deep down, she wanted to believe that. The afternoon sun began dipping lower in the sky, casting an orange glow as they wrapped up their brainstorming sessions. The laughter swirled around them as the scent of fresh pastries wafted through the park, but then, as the sky grew dimmer, Lucy received a message on her phone. The notification jolted her, and her heart raced. It was from her friend Rachel, someone back home who had good connections in town. Her fingers trembled as she opened the message. "Lucy, I just heard something alarming about Mr. Thompson's bakery. Call me ASAP. We need to talk." "Hey, what's wrong?" Emma asked, tugging at her sleeve, sensing the shift in Lucy's mood, Lucy's mind world. What could Rachel mean? Were there deeper issues at play, a threat that went beyond funding? I need to make a quick call," Lucy stammered, forcing a smile. "Just stay here and help with the last-minute arrangements." As she stepped away from the laughter, anxiety bubbled beneath her heart. She dialed Rachel's number, each ring echoing her fears. What was waiting for her on the other end? What could it be? She wondered, her pulse racing louder than any drum. Would the surprises continue to build, or would they bring a storm that could sweep everything away? As the phone rang, Lucy took deep breaths, inhaling the sweet scent of pastries mingled with the earthy fragrance of the park. Each ring heightened her anxiety, making her pulse quicken. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Finally, Rachel picked up, her voice a rushed whisper. "Lucy. Thank goodness you called. I just heard some troubling news about Mr. Thompson's bakery, and it sounds serious." "Seriously serious?" Lucy's heart sank, the anticipation tinged with dread. "What did you hear?" "Word has it that a corporate chain is planning to move in close to his shop. They don't want any competition, and they're looking to shut him down for good." They've been eyeing his location for a while. Shock coursed through Lucy. A corporate chain? Just like that, it felt like the fight to save Mr. Thompson's bakery got a million times harder. But how can they do that? He has been in the community forever. Surely people won't just stand by and let it happen? They might not realize until it's too late. "We need to act fast," Rachel urged. "You need to get the word out. Mobilize the community like you've done today, but this time it has to be bigger. Rally more people, get local businesses involved. It could be a full-blown protest if it comes to that." A protest? The thought ignited a fire within Lucy, but it was mingled with uncertainty. Would that even work? Would people join her? "Okay, I'll start making calls tonight and bring this up in our next meeting. But I really need your help with ideas and connections." "I'm on it. Just keep me in the loop." "Stay strong, Lucy. You can do this," Rachel reassured her before hanging up. Taking a deep breath, Lucy didn't return to the group just yet. The sun was dipping lower beyond the trees, casting long shadows across the park. Her thoughts whirled like leaves caught in a gust of wind. What could they say that would unite everyone even more? How could they make the town aware of what was at stake? "Hey." Emma's cheerful voice cut through her thoughts. "You all right?" Lucy forced a smile. "Yeah. I just got some news we need to talk about. Can you gather everyone up?" Emma nodded, and in mere moments, curious faces turned toward her again. Lucy felt the weight of their expectations. "I just spoke with Rachel," she began, trying to keep her voice steady. "There's something we need to address. It's about Mr. Thompson's bakery. It could be in serious danger." Gasps rippled through the crowd, and Lucy continued, urging urgency into her words. "We can't let a corporate giant sweep in and take away our beloved shop. He has built so much for our community, and we need to fight for it." "Fight?" someone from the back shouted, and soon a wave of agreement erupted. Hands up, voices raised, the once calm park became charged with a new energy. Together, they brainstormed, shouting ideas over one another. This time, it wasn't just about bake sales or events. It was about standing up for their town, their traditions, their community heart. But amid the excitement, Lucy felt the creeping fear that they could fail to be too little against a force so powerful. What if their efforts were in vain? "Let us take it to the next level," Lucy declared, her heart pounding with determination. "Can we organize a rally? Gather everyone who cares about Mr. Thompson and show our strength?" Cheers erupted, invigorating her spirit. But as victory loomed, so did the reality of everything that was at stake. She grabbed Emma's hand and squeezed it tight, needing that grounding connection. "Are we really ready for this?" Lucy whispered to her. Emma's conviction shone through. "Absolutely." But even as the crowd rallied, Lucy couldn't ignore the nagging doubt. Would it be enough to save Mr. Thompson's dream? The question lingered in the air, thicker than the sweet aroma of pastries, and with it came the fear of the unknown. Would they manage to alter the course of destiny, or was it too late? As the dusk deepened, Lucy's resolve hardened. They would fight for their community, but what else lay ahead that could threaten the very foundation they were trying to save? Lucy felt a surge of adrenaline as she stood before the crowd, voices humming with excitement and determination. They were ready, she could feel it. Yet, in the edges of her mind, worry crept like a shadow. Would they really have enough support? The rally was set for Saturday, just 4 days away. With each moment that passed, the clock ticked ominously in her mind. "We need banners, flyers, maybe something provocative to show how this affects us," she shouted over the din. As people started suggesting slogans, Lucy's heart raced. What about "Save Our Bakery"? Or "Local Love Over Corporate Greed"? The enthusiasm was contagious. Laughter bubbled along with fervent cheers. With newfound vigor, Lucy stepped back, taking mental notes. She needed to ensure this rally resonated with everyone, even those who might not care about pastries but valued community spirit. As evening approached, Lucy made her way home, her mind racing with ideas. She whipped out her phone on impulse, dialed Rachel, and filled her in on the ideas. Rach was just as excited. They brainstormed late into the night, feeding off each other's energy as they crafted a plan to engage the community. The following day at work, Lucy approached every coworker. She even set up a small, Save Mr. Thompson's Bakery booth in the break room, complete with cupcakes to lure in support. "Every cupcake sold goes to help organize the rally," she announced with flair. The laughter over cupcakes became the backdrop to heartfelt conversations. People shared stories about Mr. Thompson's kindness, how he had catered their weddings, birthday parties, even funerals. A sense of belonging filled the air, and Lucy began to feel a glimmer of hope. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were murmurs of dissent from some corners. "Why should we fight something we can't change?" one employee grumbled quietly in the corner. Another shrugged it off, saying, "A bakery is just a bakery," with dismissive ease. Lucy felt a stab of frustration. How could they not see what was happening? But instead of letting it deter her, that anger ignited more fuel. She needed to turn their apathy into awareness. "Maybe we should share Mr. Thompson's story," she thought. It wasn't just about baked goods, it was about history, home, and heart. If people see what's at stake, they might just pause and think twice. That evening, she sat down to write an open letter, detailing Mr. Thompson's journey, sacrifices, and love poured into his business, a labor of love that not only fed customers but nurtured community ties. As the week unfolded, Lucy's letter reached local newspapers and social media, stirring articles and posts that spread like wildfire. Soon, hashtags like Save Mr. Thompson's Bakery began trending among the community. Lucy watched as people began rallying. Signs were painted, t-shirts were crafted, and the excitement was palpable. That same powerful energy from the park was now erupting throughout the town. But just as hope soared, news dropped like a bombshell. The corporate chain announced a public consultation meeting, and they were bringing in big guns. "They have lawyers and marketing experts," Rachel exclaimed through the phone, her voice layered with dread. Fear threatened to creep back into Lucy's heart. Were they really prepared for what was coming? As the sun set on another day of preparation, Lucy stood at the edge of the crowd, stomach twisting with nerves. Was her resolve strong enough? The weight of her community's expectations felt heavy upon her shoulders. "Tomorrow we fight," she whispered to herself, unsure if it was more a dare or a promise. The weight of uncertainty loomed, and as the stars twinkled overhead, Lucy knew that their battle was just beginning, but would they have the strength to face the giants ahead? As the first light of dawn broke, painting the sky with hues of gold and pink, Lucy woke with a racing heart. Today was the day. It felt monumental, like standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to leap. Her phone buzzed on the bedside table, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a message from Rachel, reminding her of their meeting point before heading to the town hall. They were in this together. After a quick breakfast, Lucy slipped on her rally t-shirt, the bold slogan printed on it a beacon of hope, community over corporate. She caught her reflection in the mirror and felt a flicker of pride mixed with nerves. Would her voice carry enough weight today? At the community center, the air was electric. Volunteers hustled about, setting up tables, arranging chairs, and distributing pamphlets filled with Mr. Thompson's story. Lucy could see a crowd gathering outside. This was it. People were coming to lend their voices, their energy. "Look." Rachel gestured toward the entrance, where a group of high school students appeared, holding their handmade signs. Each one was colorful, bursting with creativity and passion. "We're all in this together." One of them called out, earning cheers from the crowd. The youth of the town were rallying, their excitement was infectious. As the minutes ticked by, Lucy clasped her hands together, summoning every ounce of courage. She spotted Mr. Thompson at the back, looking a bit overwhelmed but grateful, eyes sparkling with appreciation. Lucy's heart clenched at the sight of the old man who had always treated her like family. She had to fight for him. The gathering began, and a wave of voices filled the air. One by one, people stepped up to share personal stories. A young woman recounted how Mr. Thompson had given her free cupcakes when she had no money for her birthday. An older gentleman reminisced about how the bakery had been a meeting place for community discussions. Each story stitched together the fabric of their town, tightening their resolve. With a deep breath, Lucy stepped to the forefront, her pulse pounding in her ears. The crowd hushed, eyes on her. "We're here today not just for cupcakes or pastries but to protect a piece of our heart," she declared, her voice gaining strength. "Mr. Thompson's bakery isn't just about baked goods, it's where we've shared our lives. This is our home, and it matters." Cheering erupted. Lucy felt the warmth of their support, fortifying her message. "We must stand firm against the corporate giants who don't know us, don't care about us, and certainly don't respect what we've built here." Shouts of approval echoed around her. But doubt still lingered, gnawing at her confidence. Was it enough? She caught Rachel's eye, and her friend beamed with encouragement, silently urging her on. Just then, a figure emerged from the crowd, a sharp suit and confident stride cutting through the jovial atmosphere. A representative from the corporate chain. The crowd's energy shifted. Unease swept through, palpable. "Folks, I assure you," the man stated with a practiced smoothness, "this consultation is simply to address your concerns. We are here to listen." A murmur rippled across the crowd. A mix of curiosity and anger simmered beneath the surface. Lucy felt the weight of the moment. Would they be swayed by polished words? As the representative continued, Lucy realized the fight was only beginning. "Remember, they can't take what we don't give away," she thought fiercely, knowing it was time for more than just words. It was the moment to rally not only for their voices but for the soul of their community. Lucy prepared to respond, ready to command the attention of the crowd once more. A wave of determination surged through her. How could they stand against such polished tactics? What would be the tipping point in this fight? Would they emerge united, or would the giants swallow them whole? The battle for their bakery and perhaps their community was underway, but Lucy knew she had to steer this ship. Would they prevail or fall captive to the allure of money and influence? The question lingered in the air as the meeting began to unfold. Lucy felt her heart race as the corporate representative droned on, his voice smooth like molasses yet devoid of any real warmth. The crowd shifted uneasily, and she could see faces tightening, brows furrowing in uncertainty. A moment ago, they had been a united force, a sea of vibrant signs and passionate voices. Now, it felt as if a chill had settled over them, and Lucy knew she had to break through that chill. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, her feet feeling heavy as she gestured for the floor. "Wait!" she called out, her voice cutting through the low hum, demanding attention like a lighthouse in the fog. "I get that you're here to listen, but we need more than words. We need actions that show you care." The representative blinked, momentarily caught off guard. The crowd perked up, nourishing her fire. "Mr. Thompson has spent decades nurturing this bakery, this community. You can't just walk in and pretend like it's an easy deal. This place holds memories and dreams." She gestured to Mr. Thompson, who stood behind her, visibly moved by the waves of support. "Remember when we were kids, coming to the bakery after school to find a friend's birthday celebration? Or the times we reached out to help Mr. Thompson with his deliveries? This isn't just about business, it's about all of us. If you really want to hear us, then let us start with allowing Mr. Thompson a chance to speak for himself." The crowd erupted in cheers once more, spurred by Lucy's fiery words. The atmosphere began to throb with renewed energy, the unease giving way to enthusiasm. Mr. Thompson, looking at Lucy with tears in his eyes, took a shaky step toward the microphone. "Thank you, Lucy," he said, his voice trembling with emotion. "I've seen generations grow up in this bakery, their laughter mixing with the smell of fresh bread. We are not just a business, we are family. And I believe we can work together, right through those corporate clouds." As he spoke, Lucy felt an overwhelming surge of pride in her chest. They were not backing down. This was their story, and it deserved to be told. The crowd responded, a rhythm of claps and cheers echoing off the walls of the community center. Yet, Lucy's eyes drifted back to the corporate representative. He was recovering, straightening his tie, adjusting his stance. His face was a mask of professionalism, but she could see a flicker of frustration brewing. When the man spoke again, the polished smoothness barely concealed the underlying current of challenge. "I appreciate the passion, truly," he said, his tone now tinged with condescension. "However, your emotional appeal doesn't change the fact that we're offering a better option for everyone involved. Think of the jobs we bring, the economic growth." The murmurs shifted again, uncertainty threading through the crowd as they weighed his words. Jobs and economic growth felt appealing, but at what cost? Lucy's heart raced again, knowing it was crucial to counter that. She could feel eyes on her, waiting for her to break the spell of doubt. Would she be able to channel the rising tension? Better for whom? Lucy countered, her voice steady, pointing to the vibrant signs in the hands of the crowd. "Jobs that replace our history with cold corporate structures? We aren't some statistic. We are friendships, families, a heartbeat in this town." The energy shifted to defiance. The tide began to turn as people started chanting, "Our bakery! Our community!" Lucy's pulse quickened, the desperation melted into resolve. They could do this. But just as the momentum began to build, an unexpected shout broke through the crowd. It was a voice from deep within the gathering, one Lucy didn't recognize. "What if they're right, though? What if we can't afford to lose the future for the sake of nostalgia?" The air hung heavy with tension, uncertainty creeping in like a shadow. Lucy turned, her mind racing. Who was this voice? Was it doubt or possibility slipping into their unity? Looking at Rachel, Lucy shared a glance that screamed, "What now?" The stakes had just been raised, and the echoes of that challenge gnawed at her resolve. How would Lucy respond to this new question, this new challenge? Would they find strength in their connection? Or would they fracture before the onslaught of uncertainty? The answer loomed large, and with it, the fight for their future began to take shape. Would they stand together, or would the cracks start to show just when they needed each other most? The tension in the community center thickened, wrapping around Lucy like a heavy blanket. She scanned the faces in the crowd, desperation clawing for words that could bridge the widening gap. What if the voice belonged to someone worried about losing their job, their security? It rumbled through her chest, a reminder that fear was a powerful motivator. Listen, Lucy called out, her voice rising over the murmur. I get it. We all want a better future. But what future are we talking about? One where we lose our roots and compromise our identity? Her heart pounded, her mind racing as she fought for clarity. We can build a future that celebrates who we are and where we've come from. Around her, heads nodded, but the voice from earlier still echoed in her mind. Lucy locked eyes with Rachel, her best friend. Rachel's expression was serious, both worried and hopeful, as if she were weighing a difficult decision. Think about it, Rachel called out, stepping forward with a newfound determination in her stance. What happens if we sell out? Would we still be able to look at our kids and tell them they can grow up in a place that values love and community over corporate profits? A few murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. With Rachel beside her, Lucy felt strength surge within. We need both. Lucy shouted, steering the momentum back toward the crowd. A thriving business can exist alongside our heritage. This isn't about being against change. It's about crafting a future we can all believe in. In response, a roar of voices joined in unison. Our bakery. Our community. Echoed against the walls, filling the air with raw fervor. There was a hum of surrender, the uncertainty replaced by passion, yet the representative was not prepared to concede. You talk about community, he reasoned, his tone now taut, but how many of you are struggling to keep this place afloat? Nostalgia won't pay the bills. He had expected to penetrate their resolve, but instead, it rekindled the fire in Lucy's chest. She stepped towards him, channeling the anger she felt for the fear he was sowing. And what about the memories that pay dividends far beyond dollars? Our bakery has fed families. It has served as a haven. A place where lives connect. As the crowd echoed her words, Lucy noticed an elderly man in the front row, the glimmer of recognition in his eyes as he reminisced about the bakery's early years. She remembered him well. Mr. Jenkins had been there for opening day. A small flicker of hope ignited in her chest, and she pointed toward him. Mr. Jenkins can tell you about the first loaf of bread made here, a loaf that brought people together, she said, her voice rising above the cheers. Every slice counts in our history. And you can't just erase a legacy because it doesn't come with a corporate check. The representative shifted, his smirk faltering under the weight of her words. The crowd surged forward, an unstoppable wave of energy drafted from the roots of their community. It felt electric, poignant, but just when Lucy thought they had turned the corner, a woman shouted out from the back. What if we could have both? A partnership? What if they helped us preserve the bakery while we modernized it? And suddenly, the crowd stiffened again, processing her offer. Lucy's heart sank. What if that really was the answer? Could they trust the corporation? Was it a door opening towards compromise or a cunning trap that could destroy everything they had fought for? The fear returned, mingling with the surge of hope, twisting like vines around her heart. Lucy's next move felt pivotal, brimming with ramifications that would ripple through their lives and community. Would they risk everything for the faint possibility of collaboration? The question hung in the air, heavy with consequence, as anticipation thrummed through the crowd. What would Lucy decide? Would she seek a new path, or would she stand firm in her belief? The answer would shape the future of the bakery and their lives. Lucy stood before the crowd, heart racing in her chest. She felt as if their entire community was wrapped in a collective breath, awaiting her response to the unexpected proposition. The air crackled with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The voices of the children and the elderly alike echoed in her mind, shaping her thoughts. Could a partnership with the corporate chain really preserve Mr. Thompson's bakery? A tantalizing thought that could mean prosperity for the old shop. But at what cost? They had fought too hard for the essence of their community, the warmth, the memories, the laughter. No, she finally spoke, her voice carrying the weight of everyone who had come before her. We won't trade our story for a deal that ultimately serves someone else's bottom line. This isn't about modernizing for profit at the expense of our history. We are not just businesses, we are families. The air shifted. She could see a spark in the eyes of her neighbors, recognizing the truth. Bursts of agreement rippled through the crowd, and Lucy sensed they were amplifying her words. We've built a community that loves, supports, and uplifts each other. Look at us today, look at how far we've come together. We have rallied for something meaningful, something that truly represents us. Partnering with a corporation that looks at us as numbers won't honor that. Retaining the energy of the moment, she stepped back, inhaling deeply. The representative watched her, calculating, but the crowd was no longer in doubt. They were gathered by their common bond, the threads of friendships tying stronger in the face of potential loss. With their cheers driving her forward, Lucy felt energized. This bakery has fed countless soul-warming moments, weddings, birthdays, and simple family afternoons. Mr. Thompson's legacy means trust, love, and connection. We saved this bakery, not just for us, but for the future generations to come, so they will know what it was like to grow up in a place built on community love. Lucy turned, her gaze locking onto Mr. Thompson, who stood behind her, his hands trembling with hope. Mr. Thompson, this means we need you to share your dreams with us. Show us how to preserve this legacy while staying true to our values. And just like that, the crowd erupted in chants of community first. We stand united. Resilience radiated around her, a renewal of purpose that felt tangible. Mr. Thompson stepped forward, his voice steady. I've devoted my heart to this bakery. It's not just an establishment, it's a haven for hope and harmony. Let us not merely fight them, let us inspire them. Show them how we can thrive by holding on to our roots. Cheers erupted, rallying through the room like wildfire as his words ignited their passion. The corporate representative's tension was palpable, but he forced a confident smile. While I appreciate your dedication, this is a business matter, and as you said, we are not just numbers. His tone shifted, turning slightly confrontational. But know this, if you truly wish to hold on to your community values, prepare for a new world, where only the strongest survive. At that moment, Lucy felt a chill. They were against a powerful machine. But looking around her, she saw the faces of her friends, family, and neighbors' determination glowing in their eyes. They would not fold. Together, they were stronger. We will fight, not with anger but with our hearts, Lucy proclaimed. We will show that we are not an item on a balance sheet. We are family, and together we are unstoppable. The crowd roared in approval. It solidified Lucy's resolve. This battle was not merely about one bakery, it was about a way of being, a celebration of community, history, and love. Hours later, they would march, voices raised, carrying signs that embodied the spirit of their town. As Lucy stood in the heart of her community, a sense of belonging washed over her, lighting warmth within. She understood now. This was the connection she had craved with her children, with the townsfolk, with the very roots of her existence. Their laughter felt louder, their hopes clearer. The battle for Mr. Thompson's bakery had become a battle for every story held within every heart in the community. Let us do this. Lucy shouted, fists raised as they began to chant. This moment defined them, their voices woven together for every child who would one day walk through the bakery doors. With renewed vigor, they would pour their hearts out, fighting not just for one bakery, but for the spirit of their lives, binding their stories into an unbreakable bond. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue across the town, Lucy realized this was the true secret of the polar regions. Her grandfather had often shared connection, courage, and love could survive the coldest storms. This was just the beginning, so, if you believe in the power of community, share your feelings below. And you need to subscribe now to follow this inspiring journey forward. Leave a like, because your support helps fuel the fight. Don't wait not even one more second. Share this story with at least 5 friends who need to feel the love and unity we've built. Together, we'll show that community matters.